Welcome to Tell the Damn Story, the show that explores the many ways to navigate the successes and failures that aspiring and struggling writers face to make your journey that much easier.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tell the Damn Story. I'm Chris Ryan, writer of things, both independent and traditional. That guy, that's Alex Simmons. That guy is a writer of legends. He's a legend himself, ladies and gentlemen. He's told tales involving Batman and Scooby-Doo and Archie and Orpheus and the notoriously demanded character 1930s world-traveling hero for hire, Aaron Blackjack Day. That's right. That's Alex Simmons right there, ladies and gentlemen. And between the two of us, we use whatever experiences we've had in the few years that we've been alive to make your writing journey just a little smoother. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we get to revisit one of my favorite techniques. And I get to tell you with surprise that after all these years, I realize I never gave credit to the person who taught me this technique. So we're going to talk about a great technique that helps you write stories, write plays, write screenplays. It's really great and really affordable. And then you'll find out where it came from. And
right, so stay to the end so you find out where it came from.
You know what? It's just hilarious. And the way I found out was such a pleasant kick in the head. You know, most kicks in the head, Alex, they're not that pleasant, but this one, it did my heart.
They did it with the bedroom slipper instead of the steel-toed boot. So yeah, that's what we got.
Alex, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know,
I'm talking about my favorite technique right here. It's the index card right there, right? It's the index card method.
5x7.
We called it a 5x7 card method. I think the guy we're going to be talking about called it the note card method. Same thing, right? You take one of these, you write the ideas, one per scene. You write the ideas for that scene. Maybe you put a little label on that side. And then you gather like a big pile of these. And you go, I've used the dining room table. I used the carpeted floor a couple of times when the kids weren't up yet. And you spread them out and you get the order they should go in. And you have yourself a really useful outline for your project. This allows me to walk around with a bunch of these in my pocket and then write notes, write ideas, scene ideas everywhere, character ideas. And I always try and get more ideas than I would really be able to fit in a story.
Let me just say one thing for the benefit of those who are listening to the show and not seeing the show. When he was holding up the 5x7 cards and he was talking about one side and the other side, the blank side is where the title or the sticker or something goes, right? And then the line side of the card is where you can make your notes.
Right. So put the notes on the note side.
Yes. Funny how that works out.
The notebook looking side, right?
And the blank side.
I mean, some people don't use it. I tend to put, like, if there's a car chase, and that kind of thing.
I think sometimes you've also said that you've sometimes identified the character name on one side of the card and then notes about them on the other.
Yeah, sometimes you can do that. That's it's really actually helpful because a lot of times I'll write a character, a small character that shows up early and then shows up in the middle and maybe at the end. And one of those times I'll be like, what was his name? What was her name? What was their name?
Remind me to this because I have a story, a little quick story that ties into Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
That has a lot to do with what you're talking about. So we'll come back to that. But go ahead.
Stay around for Endgame.
Yeah.
All right. So I think probably we're about episode 405 or something now.
This is 405.
Right. About 150 episodes, I've mentioned the index cards.
I think it's more than that, fella.
Right? And I tell you what, they have always served me well. They're really easy to carry. They're very affordable, right? This is your whole equipment. There you go, and you're done, right?
And a card.
Card and a pen, and you're done. What I like is that when the ideas are coming, I don't have to write a scene and then write the next scene that comes. If the idea comes there, fine. If not, I can put them in my back pocket again. And then I'm thinking, oh, I wanted to do that card chase. Take another new card out, start writing about the card chase. And it doesn't have to be in order. I don't put them in order until, I have a pile of them. And then I start putting them in order. And you find out whether the sequence is working, whether the story is flowing, whether the arc is flowing. You'll say, oh, wait a second. They were kissing, and then I jump right to the car chase. I need the mother-in-law to come in and catch him, and then she
Then she
throws him
chases
out of
him in
the
the car.
house. And when he gets out of the house, he's trying to throw pebbles in the window, and then the car comes and he jumps in his car, and there's the car chase. Those little bits that fill out your story. That happens once you're laying the cards out, so you can have a lot of faith in it, and the more you use it, the more it works for you and all that sort of stuff. So
Would you give us an actual example of a scene that you developed that way, or even a character
yeah,
move that you?
well, it's been a privilege. I just started
I
writing
knew he
on
was gonna go.
cards,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's just all scribbles. And it was really funny because, again, I'm holding up a card for those of you just listening. And I would write some of the poetry down, and then I would have more ideas than lines. I would start writing sideways, and then it would go around and then up the top and then down the side. It would be ridiculous. If it's flowing, it's flowing. In prose, I'll go with City of Woe. They're
Which is a novel, would you
It's
call
like a
it?
supernatural detectives mystery. Like they're New York City detectives, but my father was a New York City cop, and one of the things he very rarely talked about his job, but one of the things he would say is there's a pattern that happens for some reason. You pick up a phone, that's your case, right? I got I got runaways. For some reason, I always picked up whenever there was a runaway call coming in, I happened to be the one that picked it up. There was no reason for it to happen. Someone else tending to get gang fights or what he was in the youth division. Someone else got people who were cut in school or something, whatever the deal
Hmm.
was, right? So,
But your dad kept getting the runaway cases.
for some reason, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So I applied that to Mallory and Gunner, and they were in a regular detective squad, but they just had this tendency to catch calls that were weird, maybe supernatural, maybe guy in a rubber mask, but they always had a weird bent, almost a shades of Kolchak or shades of what was the FBI one where I want to
Oh,
believe.
yes, yes. I know what you mean. Oh my goodness. Oh God, Fox, Mulder, and
Yeah, the X Files.
X-Files. Right, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Matter of fact, yeah, in one of the drafts, one of the derogatory nicknames for the two of them was Fox and Mulder or whatever the names were.
Yeah.
But I said, well, what if every time these two detectives pick up, it turns out to be one of those, "Well, can you do a series of stories on that?" And there was a bunch of short stories around, and I was tackling this novel, and I definitely using the index cards, because at that time I had twin infants and I was teaching in the high school. So
Full time.
when are you going to have time, right?
Mm-mm.
So I would always put a bunch of index cards in my pocket. And when, between classes, I'd be out in the hallway. All right, come on, keep it moving, keep it moving. And then Mallory and Gunner, and I would just write scroll some note, and it would remind me of the scene I wanted to write, and then I might fill it out or whatever, flesh it out. But so yeah, for someone who has no time, this is great. For someone who has no money, this was great. And at that time, I had no time and no money because all the money was going to formula or, or
Diapers and
diapers.
so
A
forth.
lot of
Yep.
diapers, bro.
Yep.
So I wrote my whole first two novels using the index card method, and I still use it today. So there's a good example. There was a scene in there where they are in the Bronx and tracking down this lead, and they go to a record store that no longer exists. But when I was writing it, it was on its last legs. It was one of the last record stores in the Bronx at the time. And that scene would lead them to, no, no, you got to go and look at the candy store down the corner because, ironically, the suspect that they were looking for used index cards. He would bring them to concerts. This guy was a concert guy, and he would write down those set lists, right? So that was our link. They went to the music store because they knew this guy liked music. And he said, "Yeah, you're talking about so and so. Go down to the candy store because he has some stories about that guy
Hmm.
demanding index cards." And the reason I did that was because I wanted to, being a New Yorker, you know what Te Amo cigar stores are like.
Yep.
They're always really tiny and so jam packed with stuff that there's got to be 1,000 to 2,000 items for sale in a place that could probably fit 12,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And there would be like a whole shelf in the back. That would be what used to be called school supplies, right? It would be pens and pencils and index cards and those little plastic rulers, and right. So it would all be that, and then, I mean, nowadays you it's the bodega, right?
Yeah.
There's so many neighborhood stores. I wanted to represent that, and I just did index cards, and then I went into the Tayamo with my index card and wrote down what's on this wall, what's on further down the wall, what's over here. And this little place, the left side had all magazines and then supplies and all that stuff. And the back had some stuff. And there was just a little corner. And then there was a fountain and a grill. The guy could barely move, but he was in there. Like, I got to throw all that stuff in. I added in a big glass case for the action moment and all that stuff. But all of that was written on index cards, right?
Right.
So when we started doing this show years ago, 405 episodes ago, I would talk about this early and often. And I never gave credit to where it came from. And I tell you what, as God is my witness, I didn't actually remember.
Okay, so before you actually say if that's what you're
Okay.
about to do,
Okay.
let me just throw in this and get this out of the way. This
All right. We're going to pause
in-game
right
reference.
there for
The in-game reference. Yeah.
an
So hold
Alex
on, folks,
Simmons
because you're going to be surprised when you hear who
anecdote.
it was who
Yes.
brought this to his life.
Oh,
Okay.
I know you
But
guys are just
yeah, chomping at the bit. Yeah.
jumping
But
at the
before
bit.
we get to that, so and I don't have the information in front of me, otherwise I would use actual names. But the two gentlemen who were responsible for writing the scripts for Infinity Wars and Avengers Endgame, there's an article about them that I came across in, of all magazines, Vanity Fair, which was blew my
Yes.
mind. But it showed with photographs, and it was a very in-depth article, how they worked to put together the script for Endgame. You have to imagine a big room that there's just the two of them in this room, big room, three walls, three blank walls.
Alex,
Um,
Christopher Marcus, and Stephen McFeely.
Thank you. Thank you very
Marcus and
much. Right.
McFeely.
Look this up, folks. And again, Vanity Fair, I think with 2024 might have been the year of the article. But anyway, on wall number one, they had started and really worked out a great deal the storyline, mapped out the storyline for Avengers Endgame in index cards, scene for scene for scene for scene. On the opposite wall,
Oh yeah.
they'd done the same thing, but at a certain point, so they were doing this simultaneously. At a certain point, the opposite wall, they kept running into problems that didn't work out as well as it was on the first wall. So at a certain point, they realized this is coming together, and they focused on wall number one. Said wall number two, we're stopping right here because this isn't working out. Now on wall number three, so we got index cards on wall number
Yeah.
one, index cards on wall number two, working out the structure of the story. On wall number three, they had index cards containing the names of the characters in the film. There were over 160 characters
Yep.
with the actor or actress's name and how much they got paid per day, because they had to factor in how much they could or could not use a certain actor because of the amount of money it would cost. So they are using index cards. I don't know what Bodega or Tiamo that they were buying them from, but they were buying them by the crate loads.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I
Well,
just
there you
wanted to
go.
throw that in
No,
there because
it just underscores how many people use this and how
Oh yeah.
useful it is. Because it's, you got the ideas and it's easy to move them around and, no, this scene should be for that scene. And I know there's computer programs that do that.
Final
It,
Draft and a few others have that feature to
but
it. Yeah.
that's when I think you want as much flexibility as possible.
It's tactile when you can
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
with your hands. And
yeah.
and just to,
And
just
it's
to let
on
you
the
know,
fly.
Chris,
You can
just
put
to
them in your
let you
pocket.
know, you've inspired a young student of mine at the New York Film Academy. The moment I told her about this a semester ago, she latched onto it like crazy and she swears by it. So just wanted to share that
Another
with you.
convert.
Okay.
There you go.
So there
Well,
you go. So now,
what a great segue, because what you have to tell that young lady, first, best of luck. God bless her. Secondly, I can't take the credit. Now, up until like yesterday, the day before, I tell you, Alex, if you put a gun to my head, I would have said, I don't know where. But I'm flipping around on YouTube. Secretly, YouTube is one of my favorite channels, right? Because
you can find anything there.
you can find anything. And I love the algorithm, but I love messing with the algorithm. Like if it gets too rock and roll, or if it gets too political, or it gets too analysis, then I'll throw something else in completely just to mess with it. And
Hmm.
I'll get like rainbow videos for a while. I messed with it one time and said, show me babies. And I got babies for like 3 weeks. It was fantastic. Um, yeah, and me and Glorious we will watch 20 baby
Hey, the
videos.
people watching Pussycat, so why not watch
Yeah,
babies?
yeah,
Okay.
bro. So there's this guy who has a channel now, and
Hmm.
he's always been really independent. But what he's doing with this channel is, because he has cachet in the movie industry. He's got a
Boy,
great
does he got
reputation.
cachet.
That's right. Really cool writers and actors and directors, mostly directors he uses, will come and do long form interviews. Interviews that kind of along the lines of Tell the Damn Story, where we let people talk, and great, really great stuff. But I flip it and I see it and I thought, well, let's see who he's interviewing. He's not. He started another project on that channel in which he's calling it after his name, Baba Ba's Film School. He famously made his first movie for $7,000. And this film project that he's doing is he's now, because of the 25th, 30th, 40th, 50th anniversary. I don't know
I don't
how
think it's
long
50 years. No, I think it's
maybe 25,
yeah,
25th
yeah,
anniversary,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
of the first film. He's doing another project where he's got a bunch of people who are doing films for $7,000. And
Wow.
he's doing one with his son, who is like, I don't know, 17, 18, 19, also for 7,000.
I love it.
And his idea came from the book that he wrote about making that first film for $7,000. It's called Rebel Without a Crew. And in that first episode of his film school, he starts talking about writing the script for this $7,000 project he's doing with his son. And what method does he says? He says, oh, it's the method I wrote about in Rebel Without a Crew. And those of you who know that book know who I'm talking about. And he starts explaining what he calls the note card method. I call it the index card method, right? And my eyes go up, because it was one of the books that I studied from cover to cover. It really acclimated me to how to do projects with no money. When independent film projects came my way, I knew what to do because I read this book and all that stuff. But I had forgotten that book was where I learned the index card method. And I have to thank Robert Rodriguez for his book, Rebel Without a Crew, which is based on the making of his first film, which he made for $7,000, called El Mariachi. El Mariachi. Now, in this new film school, he's documenting on video processes of each step, and he's doing a movie with his son called Red 51, based on a story that's in Rebel Without a Crew about how he signed up to do, human experimentation on him to get the money for the $7,000. Yeah, I had this flashback and I looked everywhere. I must have lent that book to someone. Like, you lend the book out, it never comes back. So I can't hear you. You got the mute on, bro.
I have a copy.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
re-up. I have
And
to
it
re-up
was
because I gave my original copy away somewhere.
September 17th, 1992.
Which was what?
Robert's movie.
When El
Yes,
Mariachi.
yes.
So he was, and then the
It
book
was,
came out shortly after that.
yeah, it premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September
Yeah,
15th, 1992.
yeah. It's so funny. And so right now you can go to, let's see if I can get all that information for you. It's the Robert Rodriguez
I'll
Film
put a link
School.
in.
Yeah, I sent you that link. You can use that one.
I'll put the link in the comments area.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez Film School, season 1, episode 1, Rebel Crew, and the channel is L space Ray, EL capital REY. That's his channel, and he does these great interviews with directors, and now he's doing this film school series, which kind of dovetails with your teaching and all that sort of stuff. But it also dovetails with what I've been championing for over 400 episodes. Thank you, Robert Rodriguez. If you want to know more information about how to do the index card method or the note card method, go to YouTube. Yes, that's right. It's for free. Go to either the L Ray channel or just type in Robert Rodriguez Film School 1.1, and you'll see the episode, and you'll watch him make notes on the index cards, get a pile of them, spread them out on the floor, talk about what that does to his mind, why it works so well for him. It echoes everything that I've been saying, or I've been echoing, or we've been echoing all these years. We've been echoing Robert Rodriguez, and we never gave him credit. So thank you, Robert Rodriguez, for teaching me all those years ago. And please forgive me for not giving you credit like 150 to 200 times on this show.
And I will quote one of the many things that you will learn from that book. And you should also look for the documentary on the making of, because it was shot. He's got footage of him working on the film at that time. And some wonderful stuff. But the first rule of the book is use what you have instead
Yeah.
of waiting for the perfect moment.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that he says, the writing rule of thumb is write what you know. And I was like, well, we don't know what we know when we're first starting out. So look around your house and see what you have and write what you have. I had access to guitar cases. This is quoting him. I had access to guitar cases, a couple of guns, and some mariachi outfits, and a turtle. And all of that stuff is in the movie.
Right. And actually, again, he talks about how he used some of his friends and fellow actors. He also got, because they shot in a small town in Mexico, because that's where he was. He also got the police force, members of the police force, to volunteer to be in the film. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of, again, thinking outside the box, utilizing what's available, what you have, what you know, all of that. But the energy, the drive to say, yes, I'm going to do this is a big part of it, which works for filmmakers as well as for struggling, emerging, and aspiring writers.
Oh, yeah. It's very applicable.
Yep.
So go check it out. I'm doing my penance here. God bless Alex for letting me talk about the index card method again. Go check out Robert Rodriguez on YouTube. And then, all my sins will be forgiven.
Or at least maybe they'll let him talk to Robert. Robert will be speaking.
And maybe you
that'll
get
be nice.
comfortable at long last, comfortable enough to try it and write your own damn story. There you
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. Take care, Chris.
Peace. I hope that's helpful.
It
Thanks,
better be.
Robert.
Yeah. Yo, Rob. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Peace.